think you know how to brake. You've heard about engine braking, rev matching, and pedal to the metal, but I tested it all in Beamng Drive, and the results, well, they might make you rethink everything you know about driving. We have 4 ordinary cars, which differ only in the presence of ABS. The red cars do not have ABS, while the blue ones do. The bright red car will brake hard, while the dark red car will brake smoothly at the limit of traction. The bright blue car will brake hard. And finally, the dark blue car will brake hard with throttle blips and downshifts. Let's start with a classic test, 100 to 0. While this old ETK is getting started, I suggest you support a novice blogger by subscribing and liking. The tomato slides as if it were on ice, but apart from that, there is no way to turn anywhere. Everything is clear with this tomato, but the most interesting part will begin with the blue cars. On these graphs above, pay attention only to the blue bar. The pink bar duplicates it, and the red bar shows speed. Using them, you can track how I press the pedal, and we will see how the ABS works. The blue ETK is already approaching the braking point. And what surprises will the ABS system have in store for us? Please note the significant difference between braking with and without ABS, even though I have practiced braking without it quite extensively. Many experts say that for faster braking, you should always shift down to a lower gear. And look at this. When shifting down, the car braked over a longer distance. It's surprising, but will this change at higher speeds? What do you think? Write your comments right now. The next test is from 150 to 0, and I promise you the results will be surprising. Tomato is still pretending to be a figure skater. Basically, he can't show us anything new except perhaps an example of how not to brake. This time, I have to brake at a higher speed, and believe me, it's quite difficult not to lock the wheels during the entire braking process, because I can't just press the brake pedal all the way down like I do with ABS. With the tomato, everything is still obvious, but it's funny that the difference between smooth braking at the limit and normal sliding has hardly increased. Now it's the turn of the blue team, which can afford to slow down to a complete stop. Let's take a look at the graph. Perhaps you wondered in the previous test what these jumps are instead of a smooth line. The graph clearly shows how the ABS system works, releasing the brakes and returning them to their original state very quickly in a short period of time, thanks to which the car does not skid, but stops quite effectively, as we can see. And what about engine braking? This time, the results turned out to be a little different. Higher speed and over-revving proved to be more compatible than you are with your girlfriend. And the next test is from 200 to 0. You can already predict the results, but just 50 kilometers per hour will have a much stronger effect than you can imagine. Just look at how this tomato slides. It literally cannot stop. On the highway, this would spell certain death for you and your car. Remember, the difference is only 50 kilometers per hour, but the kinetic energy is 4 times greater than at 100 kilometers per hour. If you think that this time the dark car will stop much faster than just a tomato, then, without spoiling anything, watch it. And look at this smooth, almost straight line that I drew with the brake pedal. At such high speeds, you need to adjust the pressure on the pedal as if it were not a pedal, but an egg. And who would have thought that the difference between skidding and smooth braking at higher speeds would have a negative impact on the dark car? In previous tests, the gap between them was getting smaller, but now it has narrowed significantly. What will happen to the blue team? You can't even imagine how nice it is to brake in a car with ABS after all that hassle without electronics. Looking at the graph, we can see that the ABS worked at first, but then stopped working because the brakes lost their power due to overheating, and the line became similar to what it was without ABS. And now, knowing that brakes overheat when braking at such speeds, we can already understand that downshifting will help us stop faster. Or not. And the moment of truth. The gap between the blue and red teams became simply enormous, but what is most surprising is how the dark blue car broke away into the lead when, at the very beginning of the video, it was the underdog. From this, we can conclude that downshifting only makes sense when your brakes are overheating and no longer providing enough force for effective braking. Finally, let's conduct a test with a modern shitbox. Do you think the result will be the same or not? While we wait, I'd like to remind you to like and subscribe, and you can also click the bell. It's just amazing, a modern car with an automatic transmission stopped much faster than older cars with manual transmissions. So what lesson can we learn from this? In a modern car on the highway, trust your ABS system, especially if it is automatic. In an older car with a manual transmission, you can also trust the ABS, but on a long mountain road or when braking from very high speeds, use the gears. The ability to choose the right driving technique is what distinguishes a real driver from someone who just sits behind the wheel.